Okay, fuel economy. So listen carefully. I have a bit of, I'm changing the plan a little bit because the province changed the formula that we were given. And I asked you to scratch this, correct? Some of you probably use pen or whiteout. So I'm going to kind of take you to page 67. So I'll just say, write this down. See formulas. This is on page 65 where we're writing this. See formulas on page 67, okay? That way when you're skipping through your notes, don't skip class, but you can skip through your notes, okay? 67 is where we're gonna write the formula. So the reason why I'm gonna do this is because of all the stuff I've seen over the years where students make a mistake here or there. So these formulas are hopefully gonna eliminate most of those. So when we go to 67, at the bottom you do have formulas. You do have formulas at the bottom of 67. This should be fuel economy. There should be an equal sign. Okay, there should be an equal sign, and it's this. And you answer in liters per 100 kilometers. Okay. I will box this in because this is like the main formula. And I'll have an arrow going, pointing to that box. Okay. Use this when asked to determine the fuel economy. Okay, this is very important. This is a note that I would like you to have on there. Okay, use this when asked to determine the fuel economy. Then you will use that formula. Liters used divided by distance traveled times 100. And don't forget to answer. Finally, you'll answer like this. The next one here, this one actually, it can be used in two instances. If you want to calculate the number of liters of fuel used, you will use that version right there. So this is also one that I would like you to have on your study sheet. Maybe today you'll add that, okay? I'll ask you to add that today. Calculate distance traveled given the liters. I hope you're writing this down on 67, right? If you want to calculate the distance traveled given the liters, okay, you basically go stated fuel economy over 100 kilometers is equal to, you will know the liters, but this is your X here. You don't know the bottom part. Okay. Morning. And this one here, cost to fill your tank, you would take the price per liter, multiply it by the number of liters, and obviously that gives you the cost of the fuel. Okay, so this is also a separate formula, but you would have to know how many liters you've used to travel that distance. So I don't know. I'm boxing them all in because they're all kind of unique. So for this one, if you want to use this one, obviously you need to know how many liters you've used before you use it. Okay. So there are your Notice, maybe I'll use a different color here. Notice that both of these, like both of these formulas, you would know what the fuel economy is at this point. The question is, are you going to figure out how many liters you need to travel that distance? Or are you going to figure out how far you can travel given the liters, right? So let's say your gas tank has 40 liters in it, and you want to figure out how far can you travel, you would use this setup, right? And this would be how many liters would I need to travel a certain distance. Okay, so maybe today before you go, you have something called fuel economy. Have a fuel economy section on your study sheet, and these formulas on there. Okay, I would say this. Okay, these two kind of go hand in hand. Okay, once you know the liters, you can find the cost of that, how much it would cost you to fill up. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use today. So let's go back to, if you're writing this down, go ahead and write this down or add whatever you need to add. Trying to see here. Yeah. Let's go to 66. So you will know that technically this one, it's asking you for the fuel economy. Okay, so I did a whole bunch of work here, and we figured out that it's 9.56 liters per 100 kilometers. If you don't mind, I will just use that formula, this one, FE, for fuel economy, because it's asking for it. You just go 26.78 liters divided by the distance you traveled, and you multiply that by 100. That's it. So you can just take that number, divide it by the distance, and then multiply that answer by 100. You still get 9.56 liters per 100 kilometers. Okay, so regardless of how you do it, whether you use the method I showed you yesterday or you just flat out use the formula for fuel economy, you still end up with the same answer. This is what the province will be looking for if you want the fuel economy. It states the liters used per 100 kilometers. It's a standard way of doing it. Okay. Next, watch this. I know we were about to pack yesterday when I did this. For B, it's asking how much fuel would you need to drive 1,500 kilometers. I grabbed this fuel economy here. Okay, I grab that and always set it up here, like first. You basically are inserting, because now that you know what the fuel economy, if you ever know the fuel economy, just plug it in first, like this, write it out like that. And in this case, right, the liters are on top, so you know this is your unknown for a distance of 1,500 kilometers. So then we just cross multiply and divide, and we ended up realizing that this is how much fuel we needed, 143.4 liters. Okay. C, what distance could you travel on a full tank with 70 liters? Okay, they're not asking for the fuel economy, we already know it, so that's what you're going to start with. Say it with me. Once you have the fuel economy, you write it down first. When it has to do with fuel economy, you write it down first, okay? All in unison, thank you. And a full tank is 70 liters. Where will the 70 go on this side? There's liters up top, right? So you match it. 70 liters goes there. So this is my distance, or the X. You can call that X if you want. Okay. So we're going to figure out how far can we travel on 70 liters, knowing that, right, I need this much to get 100 kilometers of a distance, right? So you cross multiply and divide. So distance is simply 70 times 100 divided by 9.56. And obviously we're expecting it to be bigger than 100 kilometers, right? And the answer is 732 point, that is 222, right? 22, and we want distance, which is in kilometers. So you can travel 732 kilometers, more or less, on 70 liters. Okay. Is it Minneapolis? Yeah?
I don't know.
I think about, yeah, maybe. Okay. So, let's see if we can apply this even further. This is a bit of a curveball, but you will be able to handle it. Okay. Example 2, an odometer shows how many kilometers the car has traveled. You know that by now. When Julia filled her gas tank, the odometer read this. Okay. This is your start, like initial read, right? So at the start, your odometer reads this, and then it reads this when the gas light came on again. So when the tank is empty, you travel. This is your odometer reading. So this is going to tell us how far we traveled, right? These two numbers. Calculate Julia's fuel economy if she filled up 45 liters. Okay, so they're asking for fuel economy, so just go ahead and use this formula, right? Distance, no, sorry. What does it ask for first? Liters, right? Liters over distance times 100. So I'm going to use this, watch what I'm going to do here. To figure out the liters, that's just 45 liters. To figure out the distance, this may scare you a little bit, but don't be, okay? I'm going to subtract those two numbers because that difference, okay, put this in brackets. That's the difference. That's going to tell me how far I've traveled. So I have to do a little bit of extra work there. So this is 45 divided by, grab your calculator, 21,190.3 minus 2,844.5. So Julia traveled 345.8 kilometers on a tank, right, on the 45 liters. So now I'm just going to take 45 divided by 345.8. I'm going to multiply that by 100, and that's 13.01 liters. It's always liters. Okay. Look at your study sheet if you forget. So this vehicle is then, you can say, okay, on average, this car uses 13.01 liters for every 100 kilometers I drive. What affects this? How you drive. When you drive. So if you drive like a jackrabbit,
Like really fast?
oh well, it's a green light, you go floor it, and then there's a red light next block, right? And then it's green, you floor it, and then you stop. You floor it, you stop. When you drive like that, you use a lot more fuel. And 99% of the time, you know the guy that just, right, the person that just whips by you, you're going to meet them at the next light anyways, right? So there's no point really in doing that. Also, when you drive during rush hour, you're going to use more because you're idling a lot. You're just sitting there not moving. So those are the things that you need to watch out for. And obviously the condition of your engine. Did you know that wind has a lot to do with this on the highway? If there's a strong wind that day, if you keep track of this, most cars have this on the dashboard. Like if you go through the options, your fuel economy goes, like this number goes up significantly. Use more liters if there's a wind coming right against you or even across. So that determines, that affects your fuel economy as well. Okay. So once you have this, this is gold. Okay. Once you have that, we can ask you more questions. They can ask me more questions. Here we go. Watch this. It's Friday, first period, right? So I'm gonna trick you a little bit here. What's the total cost of fuel if it costs $1.209 per liter? Watch what I see a lot. Okay, don't copy this. Students are like, oh yeah, 13.01 times 1.209, and they get an answer, right? And that's not true, okay? So what you need to do here, in this case, cost will be liters multiplied by dollars per liter. That's how you find your cost, right? How many liters did Julia use in this case? It's right there, 45 liters. So it's 45 times, we're paying 1.209 per liter. So you just multiply those two numbers, and that's how you get it. It's 54.41. Yeah. The good. I remember the gas prices being 50 cents a liter when I worked at 7-Eleven. We had a gas pump at the one I worked at. 50 cents. I was just like close to Christmas time. And so half, right? Less than, or like even less than half of this. So let's keep going. Make sure to write this down. I knew the number of liters here. Sometimes you're going to have to figure that out. So let's keep going. Example 3. A 2018 Toyota Tundra has a fuel economy of 12.3 liters per 100 kilometers. If you make a 375 kilometer trip, calculate the total cost of fuel if it costs $1.209, right? Almost $1.21 cents, right, per liter. How would you approach this? I don't want to see blanks on this one, please. The fuel economy is given, okay? It's given, it's right here. So don't be using the fuel economy formula. You don't need to do that. You already know what the fuel economy is. You're going to go to your study sheet. Before you calculate the cost of fuel, what do you need to know? Before you go pump gas, you need to know how many liters you will need, correct?
Yeah.
So go back. You're going to look at your study sheet, and you're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, calculate the number of liters. I'm going to use this one. This is what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to go up here and just say that it's liters per 100 kilometers is equal to fuel over distance. This I already know, specifically the liters. I use 12.3 liters per 100 kilometers. So you plug that in. And in this case, I want to know the number of liters, the fuel I need, so I'm going to plug in my distance, which is 375 kilometers. So I plug that in here. And so this is fuel. I'm just going to call it fuel. You can call it liters, whatever you want. So fuel is going to be, right, this times this divided by that. Calculate that. There aren't very many fuel economy questions out there, but you need to be prepared. 46.3, oh, sorry. Is this dollars? What am I finding? Fuel, right? So bad, but it's Friday. You need to watch out with me on Fridays. 46.125 liters. I'm not going to round. I'm going to leave it exactly like that because I'm not done yet. 46.125 liters I'm needing for this trip. So now we can do the cost. Cost is going to be 46.125 liters times 1.209. So I keep this on my calculator, just don't clear it, just keep it there and just go times 1.209. And so now I can put a $sign on there. 55.77 is the cost for that trip. And obviously if the bigger this number, folks, the bigger the number of liters, the more fuel this thing consumes. So you want this to be as small as possible. If you go car shopping, right, hybrid vehicles in the city, they use about 4 liters per 100 kilometers. That's a lot less, right? So you probably save a bunch of money if you go with a hybrid. Okay. I'm talking, sorry, when I say hybrid, I talk about, what are those called again? The ones that the taxi drivers use. Prius, yes. Those use like 3 to 4 liters per 100 kilometers because they use battery combined with gas. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask you to do example 4? You don't want to listen to me the whole time, right? So try example 4, read it, see if you know what you need to do if you get something like that. In brackets, I'm putting down the answer. If you're done, I'm going to ask you to go to page 70 and try all of page 70. You got to read carefully, analyze what do I need to do there. Do I need to figure out the fuel economy? Do I need to figure out distance traveled, liters, cost? So make sure you go back to 67 to determine which formulas to use, okay? So go page 70. The answer for example 4 is up there if you want to quickly write it down. But go to page 70, okay? I'm going to give you 10 minutes. So you're watching this video, make sure you change the A to highway and B to city. Otherwise, you're not going to know what to do. In the interest of time, if you just give me a few moments here, and then I'll let you do whatever you need to do to get by today. I'm going to go straight to question 7 on page 70. And it's the last one that probably threw some of you off. You know what? My key does it one way, but I will do it a different way with you guys, okay? It's probably a faster way of figuring it out. So for 7, we've got a fuel economy in the city and highway. So yes, you guessed it. You actually have to figure out the fuel economy. So you go 21.6 over 264 times 100, and you get 8.18 liters per 100 kilometers. I saw some of you rounding it to more than 2 decimals. It's okay for fuel economy, but don't do it when it's a dollar amount. Highway, you have to calculate it. We have other information here. So we got to use that, right? 26.4 liters over 348 and multiply that by 100. You get 7.59 liters per 100 kilometers. By the way, let me tell you something. It could be that even though your average is 7.59, it could be that you were using 10 at some point, getting out of the city, but then you kept on going faster and faster and your fuel economy slowly goes down. So, right, this is an average, just so you know. Next, if fuel costs this much, calculate how much it would cost to drive 150 kilometers in the city and highway. Then calculate the difference. So I'll break this down, maybe, no, it'll be exactly like the key actually, never mind. City, you have to use the fuel economy for the city, right? So 818 liters over 100 kilometers. You start with your fuel economy. You take this, you write it like this as a fraction. And we know that it's 150 kilometers that we're talking about. So we're going to figure out the liters. We need to figure out the liters first before the cost. You can't do it otherwise. Okay? So the liters is 150 times 818 divided by 100. You get liters for city is 12.27 liters. Okay, so the cost is this. I know, I should have used different numbers because they all kind of look the same, right? It's almost like a tongue twister here. But this is what you do, okay? You take the, once you have the cost, then you multiply your liters by that cost. And you get $13.83, not a whole lot. Then you go highway and you repeat the whole process. But in this case, we're going to use this fuel economy right here. I'll tell you this, my truck in the city will use like 15.5, 16.3, and on a highway I can do 11, right? So liters will be 150 times 7.59 divided by 100. There I get, if I multiply and divide here, I get 11.385 liters. So I use slightly less to travel the same distance. So it's 11.385, right, multiplied by that gas price again. Oh, 1, and that would be $12.83. Here's that gas price again, right? So this is city, this is highway, and the difference is $1 in this case. So it's not a whole lot, but it adds up in the long run. The thing is that the difference in fuel economy is so small. Think about it, 8.13 and 7.59. It's not a whole lot of a difference, but usually it is significant. So there you have it, fuel economy one more time. So all of these are posted, pages 69 all the way to 70, I don't know, 74, 5. Somewhere in that neighborhood, is on the. So what I will do is I'll go to the top of page. Where did we end up? On fuel economy worksheet on page 69. It says that at the top. I'll just say pages 69 to 74. So let's say today you don't get to it this weekend, but maybe at some point studying for the test, you want to go check it out. September 20th, right? Fuel economy. Okay, so